The rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Shalom. Salama. Siyemi. Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel. I welcome you all this morning. Thank you all for your prayers. Thank you all for your support. I'm gonna say 60%. I'm a little bit better. Got all the gunk out of me. At least I can breathe. That's good. I just pray that it didn't move down into my chest. I woke up this morning and felt like I got punched. It wasn't a workout. This is like I got punched over and over again. So I'm trying my best to recover. Speaking on recovery, let's continue to pray for our brothers and sisters over in Jamaica. I know Sister Shonda had a video. We just as a community we need to pray. So please, again, excuse me. I am very much a mouth breather today. Heavy breathing. But I am trying here. So continue to keep me in prayer. So this is Mr. Weatherman. I actually like to watch Mr. Weatherman. I believe he's a weather anchor out in the Orlando area. So I knew of him being on YouTube and before I realized that he actually had his own, that he was actually, on a Florida news channel, especially in a very in a metro area. So yeah, so he has credibility in my book. And I think the news anchorish in him comes on out in this channel because He'll tell you like it is. But um in this whole situation, he's trying his best to really not have anybody in panic. You know, I was looking at some things. I look at some different things, radars and stuff like that. My former days before I had retired from the military, I was an intel analyst, and one of the things that you do, you always look at weather. You look at the forecast because you got to help the operations folks plan, and part of that planning is what's that weather going to look like? Will the roads hold up? Is there raining? Is there flooding? Is there conditions? What does that do for the troops? So I'd have to provide those updates. But this is just a few minutes ago, less than an hour ago. Um, Here you are, family.
In the entire Atlantic basin that is about to make a landfall. This is one of the strongest storms we've had on record. It is not weakening. It is going to move in Sauve Lamar back toward Black River, Treasure Beach, in these areas, even over toward Mandeville. Here's the eye of this, right? It is coming in and has all turned, as we've been talking about, and it is moving in a very life-threatening situation, as we well know. So in these zones, again, if you're sitting right in here, as I mentioned, especially Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and over toward Manchester Parish, in through here, Black River, Treasure Beach, back toward Sauve Lamar, even just a little bit toward, say, over toward Milk River. In these locations, you could have roof failure, walls can kind of, the siding get ripped away. So with that, I know this is kind of a tough talk, but if you could just hang with me for a second. If you're in these locations right in through here and you're in your safest spot, the most interior spot of your home, oftentimes that is a bathroom, you want to have a mattress, a blanket, towels, some sort of stuff like that, because if the roofs come off, if the walls start to fall apart, you want to have something to protect yourself, your family, best you can. Have your shoes on as well in this sector as this all moves in. With that, you could see some of the gusts. Now, you want to protect your head as well.
Now, the reason I go from there, I've seen other weather channels. I do get updated. Last year, this time, I was in an area recovering from hurricanes. 2 hurricanes, matter of fact. Hurricane Helene that had come through in September 2024, and then Hurricane Milton. And the reason that I bring this on up is that it's a countdown to the struggle. We're going to see an immediate struggle happening out in Jamaica by the end of this week. As people are recovering, it's going to be a recovery operation. Don't get it twisted. And I'm not here to make any light of it, because even where I was at, people had died. In Tampa, got hit with a Category 3 after it had the hurricane at one point was at 155 miles per hour in the Gulf of Mexico, and that thing came right up through the bay. This one right here, it's smack dab. And I was looking at some of the videos of the prime minister going around. You gotta console your people. And I'm sure his phone calls are, can we get help? We need funding, not just funding. We need resources, not just resources. We need equipment on the ground. We're gonna need right. There's an immediate need. We need medical containers. There's immediate need. At this time, I look at this and I'm like, well, Father, what prevents us from helping our people there? We wouldn't even have to go thousands of miles across the Atlantic. I digress. What I personally went through and seeing the recovery efforts even a year later after Milton literally destroyed Tampa, Tampa Bay area, it's still being rebuilt. And this is the US. What do you think is going to happen with Jamaica? Yeah, now I know Jamaica will reach on out to China and things of that nature. However, understand China's not going to try to mess with Jamaica like that because these areas they are under quote unquote US control. So there's only so much that they'll do that the US will then take as aggression. That's how this works. And now as these nations are contemplating how they're going to help one another and pick their battles. I'm just giving it to you from a geopolitical spectrum. It'll be a question, or not a question, it'll be a straw man of sorts. A paradigm, a framework of we're gonna help you, we're gonna help you, we're gonna help you. How many people are still needing help up in the Carolina and Tennessee Smoky Mountain areas? How many people are still recovering up in that area? What was the horror story a couple of months ago? Matter of fact, about a year ago. And now you don't even really have FEMA funding anything. Let alone you don't even have USAID. Excuse me, that chamomile starting to have its impact. You usually have USAID coordinating emergency relief efforts. That's part of their mission as part of the State Department. Or I could say was part of their mission because that's not happening anymore. So to me, this is going to be the biggest kind of not a disaster just for Jamaica, but this is also going to be a disaster for the United States because this will be a natural disaster within the, I would say, the U.S. empirical structure. Let's just call it what it is, empirical or empirical territories, what Jamaica is part of. Don't get it twisted. That is going to be under extreme pressure and trying to have some sort of a response, especially in a place where they've literally doubled down. They said, hey, y'all got 72 hours. Because by November 1st, pack it up. And that's for the food benefits. So this is where we have a lot of things happening and going on during this time. Very interesting. Seeing how all of this is working itself on out. And as you as you kind of noticed how uh, the 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 news weatherman was reporting, he was trying his best not to alarm people. And, I mean, look, I guess that's the best that you could do. Not really what, a lot of people would want to see or witness or go through. I understand that. To me, if I were to see that, that would be quite alarming. It's how many? It's what? But I want our people to take heart that the Most High is still in the midst of the storm. He's still in control. So then, as he's still in control, everything is still moving. And I don't care what people say, how people say it. But now America faces a dilemma because they're now understanding that they don't serve the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this judgment, slow moving like this hurricane is literally the other day, it was yesterday. I heard this same weatherman say that this hurricane was moving 2 miles an hour. 2 miles per hour. Why did my mind immediately get queued up to ludicrous and 2 miles an hour so everybody sees me? And it had unfortunately, a spin that my ignorant behind mind functioned on. Please forgive my ignorance. It is. But the spin was because Jamaica's about to get it. I said, "Oh Lord!" I said, "Father, that's not what I'm supposed to be thinking. That's my flesh. Please forgive me." But when he said 2 miles an hour, I said, "Oh my goodness, there's a trigger." No, it wasn't funny. Because then I thought about, man, this thing is a slow moving nuclear bomb. We will, Puchna. Hallelujah. We'll keep you up in prayer. This is a time where we need to be caught up in prayer. Yeah, Will Smith had it. Will Smith had it. And then Ludacris made it he put a hook on there, made it, and he remixed it. I just remember it from the old school Pontiac Solstice commercials, and they don't even have Pontiacs anymore. I think that brand died a while ago. I want to turn your attention. I laugh, but it's not funny. Before I get started in this, do you all remember a couple of years ago, Germany ran an ad regarding America's food crisis? Excuse me. And people were up in a roar and everything else. And now, look at where we're at now. And I had that on my mind. And then I said, wait a second. Here we go.
Sie hat nur wenig Zugang zu nahrhaften Lebensmitteln. Ihre schlechte Ernährung kann zu Diabetes, Herzkrankheiten und einer teuren Abhängigkeit vom Staat führen. 49 Millionen Amerikaner leiden unter
Wait, so unfortunately, this is in German. But it's interesting that it's 49 million Americans are struggling with food insecurity. And I think those numbers have drastically increased due to, the post-COVID era. But I'll just keep going.
Lebensmittelunsicherheit. Sie sind hungrig nach mehr als nach der nächsten Mahlzeit.
They are hungry for more than a meal, hungry for change.
Sie sind hungrig nach einem Wechsel.
America needs Germany's help.
Braucht unsere Hilfe. Jetzt.
Now. More people struggle to afford food in America. I think those numbers have probably gone up. And this was not a parody. GreatNationsEat.org. I'll just throw this link here in the chat. You know, the reality is that never underestimate anything that they spend money on to produce. This video was 3 years ago. This is on Reddit. I'm surprised that we could still get to it. They try to say Chat GPT. Well, 3 years ago, Chat GPT wasn't even looking like this. And then they give you more info. I'll give you the actual Reddit link so folks can verify you have veracity in my reporting at least. Is it strange? No. Did they know what's happening? Absolutely. Now, on my timeline, 3 years ago, we're going into now the 4th year of this conflict in Ukraine. Do you think that this was predictive programming? Because I don't know. Maybe they figured out. Excuse me. That with everything that they had going on, let's just put this into perspective. Maybe they figured out with everything that they had going on that they realized that funding this war over in Ukraine was going to, I don't know, leave America broke. Do you think that, I don't know, all of these wars that America was trying to wage and not have any substantial payback, that this is now catching up less than 5 years later? Less than 5 years later after the U.S. left Afghanistan, and now the U.S. is making remarks that it needs to go back into Afghanistan. Why? Because they still need to steal the resources to maintain that they're getting cut off from Africa and its resources. That's the rise of Africa. Go ahead, read the book. Go ahead, get a copy of your book. Go ahead, get a copy of your book for yourself, your neighbors, your friends. Because isn't that funny that now resource management, resource control is the name of the game on the continent? And isn't it funny that now you have a lot of these countries saying, hey, let's partner up. Let's do a regional economic cooperation, an REC. I'm going to say this. I thank the Most High that the Most High allowed me to do my doctorate in this very subject. Please pray for me on that one, family, because I'm trying to get that thing taken care of and finished here in the next couple of months, because my IRB, my Institutional Review Board, it keeps getting rejected. And it keeps getting rejected because a lot of things when you're dealing with an education, you are dealing with a lot of political stuff. It's political. Even though it's not political, it still touches on a topic that can be deemed, quote unquote, political. They don't want you to talk about the truth. They want you to talk about how many hamburger patties it's going to take for things to be quantitatively substantiated with beef prices. Some nonsense like that. Well, I don't know. Do you need to look at the fries and the hamburger buns? What about Happy Meals or the consumption of Happy Meals and blah blah blah? Actually, the thesis really isn't even all that radical. It's practical. But even right now in this day and age, they don't want to know about practicality. Because why? I told you, this place is self cannibalizing. And if you don't believe me, watch. The question that I have, this is probably grotesque for something so early in the morning. But the question that I have is, remember a couple of weeks ago, actually it wasn't a couple of weeks, remember last Thursday when I showed Florida is reducing the numbers. Now think about this. These are the numbers of the deportees. These are numbers of, those elite detained in ICE. No, let me rephrase that, because some of them Sora videos, some of them ignorant behind Sora videos, there was an ignorant behind Sora video that showed a group of I would say illegal immigrants running from ICE. And it was a block of ice melting on the street, sliding towards the immigrants. That was the most ignorant thing I saw. That was so ignorant. I said, "Oh," I said, "Father, I'm done." Yes. They had MLK saying, "I had a dream." So ignorant, just their most ignorant stuff. It's really not funny. It's actually pretty vile. But they wanted to make it in a very comedic way. Yeah, AI is a bit out of control. But we have all of these things going on in this countdown to the struggle because the reality is this: they're testing. They're going to test. In reality, that's going to be about maybe 15-20% of America. That's not going to. I saw that too, Garth. Man, yeah, them Kobe videos. They were very, very ignorant. Him flying in the helicopter with his daughter, him surviving the helicopter crash. They're very ignorant. And you know what? You are right. Oh my goodness, I wanted to cover that. Gates the Holder brought up a very interesting topic with necromancy. Oh, with folks surviving the flood, with Job. Oh my goodness. Let me put it on out there. Jacoby, you're going to have to do a study on that one. Jacoba. I just woke Jacoba out of his sleep. Somebody's calling me. Do that study on Job and necromancy and the Amorites. Okay, Sister Shonda brought that up. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so the Sister Gates a holder. But that's what we're looking at. I'd already said this. I said, look, this is a kingdom of death. But they celebrate death and not life. And we didn't understand that. We didn't understand who they were because all they think about is death. I can make more money off of you when you're dead. What? Yes, the death cult. It absolutely is. I'd said that for a while. It's a death cult. Exactly, Pastor Rick. And now to me, it looks like now if you think about this, let's put this into this perspective. Who does this impact the most? Who is the most vulnerable population that's impacted? The young and the old. The young and the old. I don't know if you all had noticed, but let me share this with you. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. See, that was us in chattel slavery, and now that's happening to them. I told you all I work at a school, and last year I had been approached many times. Mr. Copeland, do you have any food, Mr. Copeland? I used to bring in snacks just to be able to let people, just to feed people. Nothing big, but I wasn't trying to advertise because there are some kids, they're just greedy. And there are some kids that are just in need. That the only little bit of nutrition that they get is a subsidized food lunch and their breakfast. But I was talking to the teachers. I said, what? I said, you realize. I said, you realize. Excuse me, fam. All right, still getting over this head cold. I talked to teachers. I said, you realize these kids are going to be coming in here hungry next week. And, for in my class, I do little snack things. I do. I do that to incentivize them. I am a rewards person. Negative rewards and positive rewards. One class is being punished the best way that I can punish them. And some of the kids in the class, good kids in the class, they're like, well, Mr. Copeland, I don't like that. And I said, well, I know. However, we're going to have to engage in group punishment. And for 13, 14-year-olds, they don't like that. And I had to put the smack down on them hard, too. But you want to know what? My scores were actually pretty decent. Actually, they were pretty good, believe it or not, for being in a district that is, the district was traditionally a southern district. Look, everywhere around the Tampa area was literally sundown country. You drive up north, sundown. You drive down south, sundown. The only place that you were safe was between here and Orlando. And then past Orlando, past Sanford, sundown. All the way up to basically St. Augustine. And so the concern is this: you're going to have students that's going to be stealing from other students. You're going to have students that are going to be quickly finding themselves in jail. You're going to have students that are going to be bringing weapons to school because hunger will drive people crazy. They'll drive people to madness. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, just wait till you get hungry. Just wait till your eyes flash before your. Just wait. Just wait till that rib starts showing up. Just wait till them cheekbones start coming out just a little bit more. Just wait till your strength isn't what it used to be. See, the great thing that we've gone through with all this fasting, oh man, hallelujah. We've been able to control our flesh. For people that have done nothing but indulging in their flesh, oh, they're going to be at the whim, and therefore they're going to be servants or going into servitude as that bondman, that bondwoman. And it's not going to look good. And they've already stepped up in a middle school police presence. They used to have one person or one sheriff's deputy. They have 3 now. Yeah, I gotta reach on out to Sister Chantel Scheffler because they're under that digital ID. Just pray for our brothers and sisters in the UK also. That's a storm. But one of the things that I had stated in a place that's dying, and an empire that is dying, the empire is going to strike out. Because why? It's dying. It needs resources. This was on an archive. It's one of those free site archives. Let me share this. I'll try to, hopefully that will capture this. Let me put this link in here. Yep, there you go. Venezuela claims capture of CIA group, accuses U.S. of plotting false flag attack. Well, didn't they already do that like 2, 3, or it's like 3, 4 years ago? They already did all this. Nicolas Maduro regime said Sunday Venezuela has captured a group of alleged mercenaries with ties to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency and accused Washington and Trinidad and Tobago of coordinating military exercises intended to provoke an armed confrontation in the Caribbean. In a statement by Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, the socialist government said the arrest revealed what it described as a false flag operation plan from waters bordering Trinidad and Tobago. Because I think it's only like less than 20 miles. It's very, very close. Or from Trinidadian or Venezuelan territory to generate a full scale military confrontation against Venezuela. Didn't I just say that? That's what they're trying to do. This nation, this kingdom, this empire has to strike out. Because why? Because it's dying. It's on its last leg. Do you know what these countries are doing? They're just saying, leave it alone. That's what these countries are doing. Leave it alone. Leave the U.S. alone and let the U.S. implode on itself. I said this. Said this in 2023. It's going to economically implode on itself. And it has. And that's what is going on right now. And, one of the things I would say, I thank the Most High because I'm telling you, going out to Ghana, going out to Burkina Faso, I can't even explain to you what I do in the background. I can't. Because honestly, I would be, I'm fearful. I am. Because if people only knew and could understand what was done, what was being done, people would be saying, Brother Carrots, you actually go on YouTube every day? I wouldn't be doing that. That's scary. Wow. That's how our people roll. That's how our people roll. Look, the Most High's in control. But let me tell you that as the Most High, it's in control. I'm telling you, he's moving mightily. Yeah, I do ask for support. I do. I ask that you support this channel. I do. I ask that you support the mission of Q2UA. Because I really don't think that a lot of people truly understand how vital that mission is, not just for the Hebrew community, but for the diaspora at large. We're doing a lot of engagements. In about a week and a half, I'll be traveling up to New York. New York City. I'm going to be there for a couple of days and engaging. Now, you can donate to that effort here at the Container Fund. We're also engaging with a couple of other countries. All of that takes your support, your efforts. But that starts here with us. I know we're going through the fire. I get it. I know we're going through a literal liquidity crisis. I definitely get it. But do you think that this is going to be easy at this time for us to come together as a people? The people that have the most money, what did it say? Look, it's easier for a camel to go into the eye of a needle than for a rich man. Because why? Man, I see that now. Than for a rich man to get into heaven. I see that now. I totally understand that now. I'm going to hold on to my wealth. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on. Hey, the U.S. is coming back. It's coming back. This place is not coming back. Now, the reality is when you see white people say this place isn't coming back, you better. They're now telling you. I don't know what else to tell you. But what I do know is that in a couple of days, our efforts in building our relationships, I'm telling you, they've had fruit. They've had unbelievable fruit. I may be able to share with you, that in the next couple of months as things continue to develop. But family, we're here. And I always say this. If you don't trust supporting, okay. Don't trust me. Pray about it. I know who my father is. And a lot of people don't like the results when they actually pray about it. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah. I've gotten emails after emails after emails. And it's pretty funny. It's like, look, I'm not here to convict anybody. I'm not. I'm just following the Most High's will. I just know how our people are, and I get it. That's why I'd say pray about it. But with that, family, I do have to go. I got to get ready for work, and I need to make sure I have all of my medicines together. So, with that said, thank you all again for your support. I appreciate it. This is an interesting month. Again, my travels over to Burkina Faso. It, it took a toll on me, family. I lost out on a substantial amount of income. I really did. Because I'd only planned to be there for about 2 weeks. not 3. And really, I wanted to be there only for about 10 days, not 19. Or almost 19. So I appreciate your prayers, your support. I appreciate your gifts. It is a blessing, family. So with that said, you all be blessed. Most High willing, I'll get a lot better. I'm feeling a little bit better. And I'll be back on tomorrow, most High willing. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.